Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of the Shameless Freedom Podcast. My question for you today is, have you ever thought about the power of your turn on as a business strategy? Now, before you dismiss me, I want you to think about this for a moment. Most of us, when we are thinking about our businesses, will come up with a plan and want to think of all the strategic things that we can do to then execute on for that plan. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. That is an approach. And I would like to say that it is more of a masculine approach rather than a feminine approach. And if you want to lean into the power of your feminine energy and the power that we have as women, your turn on might be the thing that you need in order to grow your business. Now, you might be sitting there going, Jen, how is that even possible? Right? Like, this is business we're talking about, right? Like, how is turn on and pleasure and play and orgasm and all of that fun stuff? How is that going to help me in business? Well, I have a variety of success stories that I can share with you from my own life as well as others who I have coached and mentored in this space. And I will tell you that you could be missing out on more time, more money, more opportunities by not focusing on your turn on, your sensuality, your erotic power. Now, I'm going to share with you a story, and it has to do with my own event that I was hosting for Shameless Freedom Live. And there was a day a few weeks before the event. And, as with everything, sometimes things don't necessarily always go as expected, right? And when you're putting on an event, there is stress, there's pressure. No matter what it is that you are doing, that's when our stress and pressure like comes to the surface, and then anxiety can start to take over. And I remember just dropping in one day and feeling, when I was in one of the most difficult, challenging times of my life. I don't know if I would say rock bottom, maybe. Um, like, what did I do? How did I move through that turmoil in that time in my life? And there were two things. One was my jade egg practice, which you hear me talk about all of the time. And I'm going to be sharing more and more about the power of the jade egg and how it can be used not just for pleasure, but for healing, purification, manifestation, etc. That was one thing that I used. The other is what I will refer to as a daily desire. And there was a guy friend I had at the time, and I said, you know what, can we just play? Like, I need to get my head out of the nonsense of the everyday stuff that's going on because we all have it, right? We all have times in our lives where there's a lot of shit that's happening in front of us. And how do we move through it with grace and ease and peace and the least amount of anxiety as possible? And I thought, you know what, let's try this playful thing. So we did some playful texting to each other. And I remember it being fun and playful and somewhat distracting. right? But distracting in a good way, meaning it allowed me to be in the moment and to be playful, as opposed to think about where I was going to live, what was happening with my house, what was happening with my kids, what was happening with my job, where the money was coming from, like all of that noise. And allowed myself to be in this playful energy. And it brought me so much comfort. Now, in the moment and as I was doing it, I wasn't necessarily thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to use this technique so that I can move through this shitty time, right? Like, I don't even know what I was thinking back then. I didn't have a coach to guide me through that time. So this was my own guidance and intuition and thoughts, coming to the surface of, okay, what is the best thing for me at this moment? And I just remember how powerful it was and how it brought me through the most difficult time in my life. So, as I was starting to feel this anxiety around my event, because we know a lot of times people wait to the last minute to sign up, right? I thought to myself, you know what? I am going to play. I want to be in that sexual, erotic energy again. And here's the really fun part. So I was on a walk and I thought to myself, you know what? There's a guy friend who we've chatted, before, and I think I'm going to reach out to him and see if he'll just play with me for the next few weeks and have some fun, playful conversations just to get that erotic, sexual turn on energy going, right? Now, here's the best part. I told a friend that while I was on my walk. 20 minutes later, I kid you not, I hadn't heard from the guy in like 3, 4 months. He texted me out of the blue. And I was like, okay, universe, you're on to something here. Like, I didn't even reach out, and this just showed up, right? So the idea of turn on and erotic power, right? Totally in alignment because this showed up. So I remember sitting there thinking, oh my God, like, why was I not really truly embodying turn on in erotic power every day? So here's the truth. This energy is so much more potent and powerful than we realize and we give it credit for. Because here's the truth. It sounds weird, right? How could sensual, sexual, erotic energy make you more money, right? But it does. I have had clients say to me, oh my gosh, like things are not well, blah, blah, blah. And then a friend or client will go and be intimate with their partner, their spouse, etc. And I'll get a phone call or a text and say, oh my gosh, I just got a new client. Or I just made X amount of dollars doing that. And here's the thing. It's not about the quote unquote act of sex itself, right? That can be a piece of it. But what I'm referring to is your energy in your turn on and how you're showing up. You see, when you focus your energy on play, on embodiment, on flirtation and fun, you are raising your vibration. You are raising your energy levels to places where you want them to be. And when you do that, You are no longer allowing yourself to be in this worry, doubt, anxious energy. We've all been there. We've done it multiple times. So if you're in this state of worry and anxiety, but you really want to be in this state of abundance and pleasure and prosperity, one of the easiest things to do is to be in your turn on. It's it's one thing to try to flip a switch in your mind and say, ideal clients are coming to me saying the affirmations, right? There's power to that. However, it's the embodiment. It's the living and breathing of the experience that makes the difference. And I remember sitting there going, oh my God, this is how I'm going to sell out my event. This is how I'm going to fill up my event, is being in this energy every day. So every day for 3 weeks prior to my event, I remembered the power of what I teach. Here's the thing, right? I teach this energy for pleasure, for purification, right? But this was for manifestation, right? And that's where I think people don't realize the power of this. Your turn on is not just for physical intimacy. You can use it for healing. You can use it for pleasure. You can use it for manifestation when you have that intent around it. And it's like we know these things and we forget. How many of you know to eat healthy and go to the gym and just don't do it? We do it all the time. This is the same thing with your sensuality, with your erotic power. You can use this turn on for so many things in your life, but you have to make it a priority. And I did that. I made it a priority every day, every morning, every evening. I dialed up the turn on. And miraculously, people showed up, people signed up. There were so many other things that fell into place that it was miraculous. And what it did for me is two things. It reminded me that, one, the power of our turn on. And it's not something that you just do for 10 minutes in the morning, right? This is a practice. It is something that you need to intentionally do. And I've been in programs where we have done this in a sisterhood together, right? Where we have practiced our rupture, our desire, our turn on together. And when you have a sacred sisterhood that helps you to embody that, it makes it easier. However, if you are not part of a sacred embodiment sisterhood, or you've never experienced it, you don't know the power of it. So most women do not know the power of an embodied sisterhood circle. And I'm not talking about just a monthly women's circle, right? I used to host these myself for years. Those are powerful. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the daily practice of getting into your body. Now, here's the thing. It's just like with anything. If you can do it daily, great. But if you can do it 3 to 5 times a week, right? That's a practice. This is a spiritual embodiment practice that all women need to understand that power that you have with your turn on. And what I realized is I knew the stuff, but even as someone who knows the power of turn on and erotic power, I had forgotten it myself. It's reality. And I'm here being vulnerable and open and honest with you, right? But here's the thing. This was really powerful for me to be able to say, wait a minute, this is what I teach. And this is important. And I am upping it more than a notch. I think I kind of like 5 to 10 times the erotic power at that point in time because one thing it has to do with me and my brand, which is really important. And the other is the fact that it truly made a difference to live in this practice. And people could feel it. I mean, I had friends reaching out, even saying, we feel your energy differently. And I want you to understand the power of your turn on. It's not just about using your turn on for physical intimacy. Your turn on can help you move through some of the most challenging and difficult times in your life, whether you're dealing with health issues, children issues, family issues, business issues, you name it. Your turn on is always there. You can always go to it. And it shifts your energy. It allows you to process and move through some of the, I'll call it negative vibes that are not serving you. Sometimes you need to feel them and move them through, but then to also live in your beautiful, erotic turn on. Notice the power. Now, if you have not already subscribed, I actually have a freebie that is 100 ways to tune up your turn on. And there are a variety of different ways to do it. The cool thing is you don't have to do just one thing, right? The idea that I had was some playful texting with a guy friend. Well, that was one thing. And then I added some other things into my whole practice. But that was the one thing that ignited the spark. So here's the thing. Sometimes you just need one activity to ignite the spark in your turn on. Because let's face it, we don't want to be boring. Like, if we ate the same thing for breakfast every morning, it would be boring. If we did the exact same workout routine every day, it might get boring. If you did the exact same yoga thing every day, it might get boring, right? This is why people, when we go to the gym, we have variety. There's cardio one day and strength the next. You do legs one day, you do arms the next. Same thing from a food perspective, right? You don't necessarily want to eat the same thing all 3 meals. Now, sometimes when you're getting started, repetition of the same thing is helpful so that you don't feel overloaded. So if you start your turn with something that is simple, that you can actually do over and over again, and you can create a habit or build it into your system, then that is extremely beneficial for you. But one of the things that's cool is when you're in this playful, sensual, erotic energy, you can come up with some really fun, creative things. That's the cool thing is you start somewhere and then it expands from there. I mean, I just think about creativity in the bedroom. Now, my intention of this podcast is not to talk about all of the different things that we can do in the bedroom from a creativity perspective. However, just think about it for a moment, right? Sometimes we like variety and we don't want to do things the same way over and over again, right? So when you have the opportunity to explore something a little bit different, right? Try one of the things that's in my 100 ways to turn up your tune on. To turn tune up your turn on, right? And I bet you can come up with even more than what I've got. These are just ideas to plant seeds to get you into this fun, playful space. I mean, one of the things that so many women do as turn on is make themselves feel beautiful. Wear beautiful clothes, makeup, hair, shoes, accessories. All of that is a way to amp up your turn on. And imagine if you added multiple things that just added to the actual experience. So, if you are someone who is wanting to call more of something into your life, I invite you to take a chance and see how turn on can be exactly what you need to shift whatever is going on in your life. So, two ideas here. Grab the link for 100 ways to tune up your turn on, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. Second, I am launching a Shameless Freedom membership program where you will get the opportunity to have this sacred sisterhood. It's something that I've wanted to do for years. And when I went through this experience of remembering the power of doing this, I knew I had to create a space for women to be able to have that type of environment. Now, here's the thing. If you've never experienced the power of this, I invite you to try it out. Come check it out, see what it feels like. Here's the thing. We don't know what it feels like until we're there. Like, think about like a luxury vacation. If you've never been on a luxury vacation, you don't know what it's like until you've experienced it. It's the same thing here from a turn on or multiple turn on, multi orgasmic experience type of thing. You have no idea the power that is there and what is available to you and how it feels in your body if you've never experienced it. So, if you are interested in either of those things, I invite you to click on the links, reach out. If you want more information about our membership group, let me know because this is going to be a powerful container. This is an opportunity for you to make time for you, to witness other women and be witnessed in a safe container. And this is what we all need. This is different than a business mastermind. This is different than a women's circle. This is accountability. This is sisterhood. This is the opportunity to dive into and not only have the permission to be in your erotic energy, but to actually be in it. Not just talk about it, not think about it, not journal about it, not read about it, but to actually be in it. Because I promise you, when you say yes to your turn on, your desire, your erotic power, this thing shift all around you.